I'm in the Philippines shadowing my good friend Chele Gonzalez. Together, we're on a mission to learn about cacao and how it came to be in the Philippine Islands. Chele's plan is to learn about the culture, anthropology of this tropical fruit, how it's used by the Filipinos. And bolstered with that inspiration, he plans to curate a chef's table experience revolving around the mighty cacao pod. We've had a lot to absorb from our Davao trip. We've taken in all there is to learn about cacao in the farms. Now, it's time to experience some of the local culture of cacao. To do that, we hit the markets. As usual, the Filipino markets are a kaleidoscope of all sorts of colors, tastes, smells. Some are better left avoided, and some are genuinely intriguing.
Yeah, flying fish.
Leaving the frenetic buzz of the open markets, we venture into an alleyway that takes us to a scene reminiscent of a cafe.
Your Painitan. When you say Painitan, init is warm, hot.
Right.
So this is a place where people warm themselves. So in the early morning, just to get the day started, they come here even much earlier, about 3, 4 in the morning. Sit down here, you can have coffee or cacao, but mostly it's cacao.
We think the culture of consuming cacao like this in little stalls came from Spain as well, because you said it reminds you of...
Well, definitely it's a connection, but in our research, it comes really from South America.
Yeah.
And probably, in the process, when the Spanish, touch it, they start to put more sugar, and make it something that it was more comfort for the Western countries.
Right.
Finally, cacao in a traditional Painitan.
This is the non-alcoholic version.
Yes, this is the non-alcoholic version. So it's what they call it sikwate.
Sikwate.
And it's basically your local hot cacao. And it's basically from the influence of the Spanish when they had brought it in during the Spanish galleon trades. They even had this saying before wherein when the people would have special guests, they would signal to the people to prepare a chocolate which means a chocolate espeso, a thicker one. Or if it's somebody that's a common guest, they'll be prepare the chocolate This is the chocolate aguado, or the more watered down version of it. Yeah, and so it's basically just pure cacao, and basically they just roast it, de-shell it, and then ground in that paste. It's what you call tablea. It's just mixed with hot water in a traditional with wooden spoon, and they melt it down, and then they add sugar, and it's simple. And sometimes they have it with this rice.
Sticky rice?
It's sticky rice. So you can see the mixture of, let's say, Spanish and the Southeast Asian
fusion.
Yeah.
But what trips me out, gents, is the anthropology, the food anthropology behind our meal right here, our drinks right here, from South America to Asia.
How exciting is that?
It's unbelievable.
Instead, all of the chefs always use the chocolate as dessert, but we wanted to take this anthropology part and see, okay, how, the first use in South America, how they use the chocolate as elixir,
Right.
As a man, power, to procreate, and also, to get spiritual. They call it the drink of the gods. So you will see, but this is the approach we want to do, doing the chocolate. This anthropological and first way, to drink, and
It's exciting, man.
Yeah.
Super exciting.
It's a kinotyl. It's basically their drink that they drink as an elixir. It just gives
the
power. And
I'm gonna stay away
virility
from
for
you
them.
now.
What it is basically your cacao beans. So it's roasted beans that is made into this what they call like a cacao tablea, which is basically like a pure block. Then they mix a little bit of this coconut wine, which is like called tuba.
you're going to love it.
And then for the final touch, they put like a raw egg, which they mix all together, and that gives it its.
Cool.
Very, very amazing.
Oh yeah, that you can smell the coconut wine in there. It's
But it's really feels as an elixir.
It's like a fermented drink, right? And fermentation.
It's the complexity of the egg, that gives more body.
Richness of the egg,
richness,
absolutely.
exactly.
Absolutely.
And then the alcohol is just very mild. It just gives more deepness.
yeah, a little bit of that aroma of the coconut wine.
Yeah. This moment is when I feel excited. My body is like really like with a lot of energy shaking, Because
It's not the drink.
maybe.
But what of this Criollo variety? My mind keeps going back to it. Can we find a good source of this heirloom breed in the Philippines? We're all on a high, sharing this moment, and we decide that the search for Criollo must go on. The question is where to seek it. If you look at the geography of the Philippines, its sheer diversity is mind-boggling. Most of the areas of the Visayas where cacao is found is overrun by the commercially planted Trinitario or Forastero varieties. So we apply some logic. We select Siquijor Island because it's a completely unexplored frontier of the Philippines. It's known locally as the hub of all things related to mystical proxies. It's the home of hexes, faith healers, and shamans. And the rumor is that these shamans utilize cacao in their potions. And not just any cacao, the ultra-rare, pure breed Criollo, because of its supposed potency. If we're gonna find Criollo randomly growing in the island, Siquijor is our best bet.